Deep in the heart of a vast green forest, a colony of ants busily went about their daily tasks. They worked without rest, carrying crumbs, building tunnels, and guarding their queen with unwavering loyalty. But among them was a small ant named Tilo, who was unlike any other. Tilo's shell shimmered slightly brighter than the rest, and while the other ants marched in perfect lines, he often paused to stare at the sky. His steps were slower, as if he carried a secret that weighed heavily inside him. "Why are you so different, Tilo?" his fellow ants often asked. "Why don't you work like us?" Tilo would only smile softly and whisper, "I feel like there is something missing, something I have to find." One quiet night, when the moon hung low and cast silver light over the forest, Tilo sat by the riverbank, lost in thought. There, an old dragonfly appeared, its wings worn and fragile, but its eyes sharp with wisdom. "If you want to know who you truly are," the dragonfly said in a gravelly voice, "seek your clone. Therein lies your answer." Tilo's heart raced with confusion and curiosity. A clone? Could there be another like him somewhere? Determined, he packed a tiny crumb of sugar as his only food and stepped beyond the safety of the colony. The forest stretched before him, vast and unknown, full of shadows and secrets. With every careful step, Tilo's adventure began, one that would test his courage, uncover hidden truths, and lead him to discover more than just a simple copy of himself. Tilo's tiny legs carried him farther and farther from the familiar tunnels of his home. The air smelled different here, richer, wilder. Strange sounds echoed around him, the rustle of leaves, distant bird calls, and the whisper of the wind weaving through the branches. As he crossed a meadow dotted with wildflowers, he spotted a busy bee collecting nectar from a bright yellow blossom. Tilo approached carefully and asked, "Excuse me, do you know where I might find my clone?" The bee paused, its wings humming softly. "A clone? I have never heard of such a thing," it said thoughtfully. "But every creature casts a shadow. Perhaps your true self is hidden somewhere in the dance of light and shade." Tilo nodded, though the words puzzled him. The bee returned to its work, leaving Tilo alone once again. Night began to fall, painting the sky in hues of deep purple and gold. Tilo found shelter beneath a large stone where he heard a soft rustling nearby. From the shadows emerged a grasshopper with keen eyes. "Looking for your clone?" the grasshopper asked, its voice gentle but curious. "Yes," Tilo replied. "I must find the part of me that feels lost." The grasshopper smiled mysteriously. "Sometimes what you seek lies not in another but within yourself. But be warned, some shadows don't want to be found." Tilo felt a chill but also a spark of hope. This journey was more than a search for a twin. It was a path toward understanding who he really was. With renewed determination, Tilo set off into the growing darkness, ready to face whatever awaited him. As the night deepened, Tilo wandered through a thick forest where moonlight barely pierced the dense canopy above. Every step was careful, every sound amplified in the stillness around him. He felt the weight of solitude pressing against his tiny body. Then at the edge of a quiet pond, Tilo saw something unexpected, a shimmering reflection on the water's surface. He bent down and stared intently. The figure staring back wasn't quite like him. It moved differently, not mirroring his every motion. "Who are you?" Tilo whispered, his voice trembling. "I am your shadow, your other self," came the reply, soft and echoing like the wind. "I am what you hide from the world, The fear you bury deep inside. Tilo's antennae quivered. I've been searching for a clone, but you're not a clone. No, the shadow answered. I am part of you that you must face if you want to become whole. The pond's surface rippled as a breeze passed by, distorting the reflection into strange shapes. Tilo felt a strange mix of fear and courage rise within him. This was no longer a simple journey to find a twin. It was a quest to discover himself. Slowly he touched the water with his tiny leg. The reflection shimmered and then smiled. Your true journey begins now. Tilo looked up at the starry sky. The path ahead was unknown and dark, but inside his heart a small flame of hope was kindling. The night air grew cooler as Tilo left the pond behind. The forest seemed alive with whispers carried by the wind. Leaves rustled softly, as if telling secrets only the brave could hear. Tilo paused and listened carefully. Among the murmurs, a gentle voice seemed to call his name. Tilo. Tilo, he followed the sound, weaving through tall grasses and tangled roots. Suddenly a soft breeze brushed against his face, carrying a scent sweet and fresh. Seek the wind that never rests, the voice whispered again. It carries the stories of those who found themselves. Tilo looked up and saw the wind swirling, leaves into a spiral, dancing around him. With cautious hope, he decided to trust this mysterious guide. For hours, Tilo walked as the wind led him deeper into the unknown, through meadows bathed in moonlight and shadows that stretched like fingers. Exhausted, but determined, Tilo finally reached a hilltop overlooking the vast forest. The wind whispered one last secret. Sometimes the greatest mirror is not glass or water, but the courage to face yourself. Tilo stood still, heart pounding. The journey was far from over, but with each step, he felt closer to the truth he sought. As dawn broke, casting soft golden light over the forest, Tilo continued his journey. His legs ached, but his spirit remained unbroken. He came upon a slow-moving stream where an old turtle rested on a smooth stone. The turtle's eyes gleamed with wisdom accumulated over many years. "Young traveler," the turtle greeted him, "what brings a little ant so far from home?" Tilo explained his quest, to find his clone, to understand who he truly was. The turtle smiled gently. A clone may be a reflection of your body, but the true self lives deeper. Sometimes the answers you seek are hidden in your past. Tilo listened intently as the turtle told tales of ancient forests and the countless creatures that had walked similar paths of discovery. "Remember," the turtle said, "the journey is as important as the destination. To find your true self, you must face what you fear and embrace all parts of you." With newfound clarity, Tilo thanked the wise turtle and prepared to move forward, knowing that every step was shaping the ant he was meant to become. With the sun climbing higher, Tilo ventured into a dense part of the forest known as the Dark Wood. The trees here grew close together, their thick branches weaving a canopy that dimmed the daylight. Shadows played tricks on the ground, and strange noises echoed around him. Tilo's heart beat faster. Doubt crept into his mind. What if I never find my clone? What if the answers don't exist? But just as fear threatened to overwhelm him, Tilo remembered the wise turtle's words. To find your true self, you must face what you fear. Taking a deep breath, he pressed forward. Every rustle, every whisper made him more alert. Suddenly, Glowing eyes appeared in the darkness, watching him. He stood his ground, determined not to run. Then a small voice broke through the gloom. It was a firefly, its light flickering softly. "You are braver than you know," it said. "Keep going, little one." Tilo smiled faintly. The forest was dark and full of doubts, but his resolve was stronger. Step by step, he moved deeper, ready to face whatever shadows awaited. After what felt like hours wandering through the dark forest, Tilo suddenly noticed a faint glow ahead. Curious, he hurried toward the light and soon found himself standing at the edge of a secret garden. It was a hidden oasis, bursting with colorful flowers, sparkling dew, and soft, fragrant breezes. In the middle of the garden sat a radiant butterfly with wings shimmering like stained glass. She looked at Tilo kindly. "Welcome, traveler. Few find this place. What brings you here?" Tilo took a deep breath. "I'm searching for my clone, the part of me that feels lost." The butterfly smiled gently. "Sometimes what we seek is not another, but a reflection of our own soul. Look around you. Each flower, each leaf, holds a story of growth and change." Tilo wandered through the garden, touching petals and feeling the life buzzing in every corner. A sense of peace settled over him. Here, in this hidden sanctuary, he felt closer to understanding himself. "But the journey is not over," the butterfly warned softly. "The greatest discoveries come from the hardest challenges." Tilo nodded. He was ready to face whatever came next. As Tilo left the hidden garden, he felt a strange pull guiding him toward a clearing bathed in pale moonlight. There, standing alone, was a pool of water so still and clear it looked like glass. This was the mirror of truth whispered about in old ant tales. Tilo approached cautiously and looked into the water. At first, he saw only his own reflection, a small ant with shining shell and determined eyes. But as he gazed longer, the image shifted, revealing moments of fear, hope, joy, and sorrow. The mirror showed not just what Tilo was, but everything he had been and everything he could become. "You have found more than a clone," a soft voice echoed from the night. "You have found yourself." Tilo felt a warmth in his chest. The journey had been long and filled with trials, but at last he understood. The clone he sought was not another ant. It was the courage, the fears, and the dreams inside him. A deep breath, Tilo stepped away from the mirror. The path home was waiting, and though the forest was vast, he no longer felt alone. With the first light of dawn breaking over the horizon, Tilo began his journey back to the colony. The forest that once felt vast and intimidating now seemed familiar and welcoming. Each step was lighter, filled with a new sense of purpose. As he walked, memories of his adventure flickered in his mind. The wise turtle, the glowing firefly, the hidden garden, and the mirror of truth. Each had taught him something important about courage, self-acceptance, and the power within. When Tilo finally reached the entrance to the colony, he was greeted by the curious eyes of his fellow ants. They noticed a change in him, a quiet confidence and a peaceful glow that had not been there before. "I didn't find another like me," Tilo said softly, "but I found the part of myself I was missing. The clone I searched for was not a copy, but the strength inside me." The ants listened closely, and slowly they began to understand that every journey is about discovery, both of the world and oneself. Tilo smiled. His adventure was over, but his new life was just beginning. Back in the bustling colony, Tilo became more than just another ant. His story spread like wildfire, an inspiring tale of courage and self-discovery. Young ants looked to him with admiration, and elders nodded with respect. Though he was still small, Tilo's heart was big. He taught others that sometimes the greatest battles are fought inside, and the bravest journeys are those toward understanding oneself. One evening, as the colony gathered under the glow of fireflies, Tilo stood before them and said, "We are all unique, and we all carry parts of ourselves waiting to be found. Our true strength comes from knowing who we are and embracing it fully." The colony cheered softly, feeling a new hope bloom in their hearts. And so, Tilo's quest ended not with finding a clone, but with finding himself. A small ant with a shining shell, a brave heart, and a spirit that would inspire the forest for generations to come.